Play best song in the world, or I'll eat your souls. You're listening to CinePunked, interactive discussions for film lovers. This episode, Tits or Destiny.
Tits. Destiny.
So I'd like to say that here at CinePunked we take our films very seriously indeed, but those of you with long memories will recall that Rachel subjected us to a film that she calls The Room.
You're still welcome, by the way.
And Ben calls the worst movie ever.
Yes, it is the worst movie ever. That's why it's fun.
I think he said he wants his life back.
Yeah, I want my life back.
Okay, I can't do that bit.
Can't remember how long that 45. No, how long is that movie?
It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Is that all?
Yeah, I want
Seems
an hour
longer.
And a half my life back, please.
And we've spent so long talking about it, we've actually lost a lot more of our time to The Room.
Yeah, so no more.
So when I said to Rachel, do you know what we'd like to do this time? Let's do Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. And Rachel said to me,
Are you serious? Because I'm not sure if you're being serious right now.
I said, no, yeah, I think it's actually a really good film for us to do. And lo and behold, listeners, you're now joining us as we have gone beyond the realms of acceptable academia into entertainment, I guess.
Yeah, a bit of fun.
Fun.
I think we can still academia this shit.
Yeah, if only we were full-time academics, which we're not. I mean, this is the whole thing, is that we've always sort of tread this little fine line between what is dry academia and fandom, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think you find most academics are fans in some respects, but this is as close, I think, as we've got to proper actual fandom related stuff, apart from that time you let me go nuts on Blade Runner.
Yeah, I don't think we didn't do that for the podcast, though, have we?
We didn't. No, which is probably just as well. There was a lot of screaming and delight and look at my happy face.
I feel like I may at some point we may well do that again as a podcast. But,
okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's an awful lot in this film that merits a kind of a fandom analysis. Were you familiar with Tenacious D at all before you watched this film, Rachel?
I was vaguely familiar with Tenacious D. I have heard one of their songs, and I'm obviously aware of Jack Black, and I knew he did a comedy rock duo, and I'm sure I've heard more of their songs than I'm aware of, but
remind me, which was the one of their songs that you knew?
The Only Gay Eskimo in the Tribe.
I just of all the Tenacious D songs,
my sister used to play it to me.
I don't even know this one. I'm not convinced that it's a Tenacious D song.
I'm not convinced either, but I have heard the song.
Have we got internet handy?
We do.
I feel like we should verify this.
So basically, the only Tenacious D song I know might not even be a Tenacious D song.
Well, it's like people often do this where they kind of cite, for instance, the Ruttles.
What now?
The Ruttles. You don't know who the Ruttles are?
No.
The Prefab Four.
The what?
The Prefab Four.
Okay.
There's a song by the Ruttles called Cheese and Onion, which used to turn up on Beatles bootleg recordings because everyone thought it was a Beatles song, but actually it's a Ruttles song. So sometimes people get them all confused.
I don't genuinely think that I'm confusing The Only Gay Eskimo in My Tribe with anybody else. And having seen now The Pick of Destiny, I'm even more convinced that I'm right about this.
I'm sure you're right. This is going to be an opportunity for us to go, Rachel, you were right, which is something apparently I don't tell you often enough.
Well, I mean, I can never hear enough of it,
Producer Ben is doing his researcher face. He's going, how do you spell Eskimo?
Corky and the Juice Pigs was a Canadian comedy musical group made up of Bill Nicole, guitarist and vocals, Greg Neely, I think, and Sean Cullen. The output consists mainly of original comedic songs, largely satirical and often parodying various musical styles.
Did their song include The Only Gay Eskimo in the Village?
But though there is a a video of what looks like Jack Black and Kyle Gass dressed in robes. Playing this song.
This is ridiculous. This is what I'm having to ask. Verify, Ben. Verify. We can't get this podcast started without it. Are they actually visibly singing it?
They're doing a cover of it.
They're doing a cover of it.
Okay.
Okay,
So the only Tenacious D song that you know is a cover.
apparently so, yeah. I have never felt more like somebody who's nearly 40.
Okay. Ben.
Yes.
You're aware of Tenacious D.
Oh, yes, I am.
Tell me, what are your impressions of Tenacious D?
I love them. I think they're great. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
They're great. I'd love to see them live. I would love that.
They are amazing live.
I always enjoyed their comedy stylings.
I have seen them twice on stage, and they were fantastic on both occasions.
Yeah. Well, next time they play, we should both go together.
Well, hopefully they will, because they've got a new album out.
They do.
They do. Apocalypto, which is music from their new animated series. It's on YouTube,
Okay, cool.
which you've been watching.
Yes, I have.
I've been watching. You've been watching it, Rachel.
Yeah, no, I haven't been watching this.
What's
Yeah,
YouTube?
I know what YouTube is.
But you're like 40.
Not yet.
Nearly.
Okay, so is it like this animated series of theirs? Is it like the animated start of the film where it's like them basically propelled by fart?
No.
Okay.
No, it's even more rudimentary than that.
Good. Because I got to say, that did not set up my expectations very high for the film when I was watching it. I did sit watching this with a very blank expression on my face going, what the hell have I said I would watch here? But in fact, I really enjoyed the film.
This surprises me.
It
Slightly,
surprised me too.
because you can be quite difficult to predict what you're going to like and what you're not going to like, and we usually don't agree.
I'm mercurial.
So it's Paris I thought this is actually an episode where the three of us have started off with saying we like this film.
Yeah, but I'm going to say lots of stuff that you're not going to agree with, so you can basically argue with me then.
What's new there?
Exactly. I got opinions about shit.
So, what did you like about Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny? Or what didn't you like? What's your general impressions of it?
I was completely blown away by the musical opening, the pre-credit musical opening. Anytime you put Meatloaf in a film, I'm there already. That's it. You know, job done. I'm going to love this film regardless of what happens
I actually
next.
don't like Meatloaf at all.
What?
Ben, I'm going to have a physical fight with you over this.
Is it going to be a Fight Club fight?
Yes.
You're going to
yes.
have a Fight Club fight
Yeah.
with Ben over Meatloaf? How
Yes.
appropriate.
Yes, exactly. And yeah. Anyway, Meatloaf is the greatest, and I will hear nothing said against him. And yeah, I mean, just having this whole kind of rock opera opening featuring Meatloaf, I was just, yes, definitely, let's do this.
Don't forget our dearly beloved, recently departed Dio.
Yeah, I have heard of him, but I'm not really sure who he is.
He'd rocked for a long, long time. It
Apparently,
was
yeah.
time for him to pass the torch.
That's really weird. You know, they sing about that and then,
He's dead.
yeah, he dies.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this film is 2006.
Yeah.
No, it's like 12 years ago. I know.
We'll come back. They are apparently, I should say right at the start of this, is there was an announcement they made earlier on this year, 2018, saying that they're doing a Pick of Destiny 2, on whatever form that takes. I'm assuming it's not the Apocalypto cartoon. It's a different project, but they're so... I mean, I hadn't heard anything about Apocalypto till it literally was coming on YouTube. So clearly they're quite good at keeping stuff to the chest.
I only heard about Apocalypto because I saw an interview with Jack Black on, what was it? Saturday Night Live or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking to, what do you call him? Steve? Something. I don't
Steve
know.
Carell?
Steve Colbert? No.
Colbert.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Stephen Colbert. He was talking to him, and then I think it was him, either that or Jimmy Kimmel, or one of them late night Saturday.
Because it's so international with all these American references.
Yeah.
What the?
No, well, you they're American, like, so.
Mind blown.
Yeah, I seen that, and then he was saying about his new web series that was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been doing a lot of PR stuff, but I think it was mostly because he was in that. Jack was in that new film out with the clock in the walls or something like that.
Jack's always got stuff going on. I mean, he's a fairly busy a Hollywood actor.
Yeah, and I really don't like his star persona at all. I just find it puerile and cruel quite a lot of the time. It's quite a cruel humour, and he really does nothing for me at all. So I wasn't, as I say, expecting to like this in the slightest.
You don't like School of Rock?
I don't like School of Rock, no. I've only seen bits of it. I couldn't be annoyed.
You like Shallow Hal?
Oh, I hate Shallow Hal. Oh, I hate that so hard. That's appalling, that film. Everything about it is awful.
What? What?
Oh,
really?
no, I'm not keen on Shallow Hal either. I mean, the whole pretense kind of...
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah,
What more
Jack Black saying that.
Beautiful message to send to millions of people than that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If
Were it not populated almost exclusively by fat jokes.
and you know, it's led by an actress in a grotesque fat suit who, in this couple of bits where she's trying to be herself, but the rest of the time she's just a skinny waif, thereby sort of actually suggesting that the image that he has of Beauty in the Eye of the Beholder is somebody who's actually really thin and skinny anyway. It's not actually someone who's fat, because if he loves someone who's fat, she'd just be fat. It's sizist.
Yeah, but then is
At the end of the film,
I didn't even get as far as that. I'll be honest with you, I fell asleep. I hated it.
all right, let's stop talking about Shallow Hal.
Okay, so you're not keen on Jack Black's screen persona, which
Not massively, no, but I just, it was Jack Black, but fluffier and cuddlier. And I mean, I almost felt, and I know that I'm not the first person, because I did do some reading around this. I know I'm not the first person to think that it's almost more like this feels like an authentic version of this person who is sort of to the nth degree larger than life, in your face, slightly offensive, totally puerile. This feels almost like that's the act and this is the person.
yeah, it's hard to tell because the stage persona is so over the top. It's full of self-deprecation, as good comedy often is. You know, for all their kind of adventures and hunt for you know, sex, basically, they are still two grossly overweight, rather incompetent buffoons.
But they're endearing. There's such vulnerability to both of them, which is something that I'm not used to seeing from Jack Black. That level of need, really. I don't know. It felt like this was sort of, it came from somewhere genuine, and also, I mean, the music's just great. I do like a bit of rock opera. I'm partial to it. I love Meatloaf.
This is one of the things I said to you whenever I was trying to encourage you for reasons to watch this, was that it's got Meatloaf. It's a homage to Rocky Horror, I said. I'm basing that purely on Meatloaf's appearance.
Yeah, I'm not even slightly agreeing with you that it's an homage to Rocky Horror.
It's not really what I wanted you to watch the film, and this is what I'm getting you to do. Occasionally, I may bend the truth slightly.
That's all right. All you got to say is The Room. You made us watch The Room. You owe us every single film that we ever ask you to watch, and then I'll go, yeah, okay, fair enough.
I still need to make a choice someday.
You do?
Yeah, I'm dreading it.
Yeah, but rock opera in a way. I mean, what I loved about that's a kind of genre that again I quite love. I'm pretty partial to musicals anyway, and this does play homage to musicals. But the rock opera with sort of Rocky Horror and Tommy and things like that in the 70s, I mean, this does follow on from that, but it's doing something else with it. I think it is much more in the kind of classical musical vein.
Yeah.
It is. It's a musical, hands down. Like, there's no ifs and or buts. It's not a homage.
There's plenty of buts in this.
It's not a homage to musicals.
That's Mark too.
It is a musical.
I'm going to slightly disagree with that, because the music, advances the plot rather than holds it up. And in musical, you'll very often just hold up the plot and have this sort of spectacular song and dance number. But this is kind of integral to
It's
the
a rock
plot.
opera.
Yeah.
Which is
opera
Tommy.
really rather than musical for me.
It's just finding an origin in the likes of Tommy and the Who.
What do you call that film that had Steve Vai in it, and about the guitar player?
I didn't expect you to hit this one so early on in the game.
Because that's basically what this movie is like. It's another take on that.
That's Crossroads.
Crossroads.
Yeah.
That's a great film.
Yeah, but that's basically what this movie is.
Well, yeah, it's because that again is kind of, I mean, and this is something I really want, and this is something that really, really surprised me, is that this is basically Hero's Journey. This is Joseph Campbell here with a Thousand-Faced Hero's Journey. There's some really sophisticated references in this film. I mean, I was getting Monty Python, the Holy Grail. I was getting a bit of Blues Brothers. I was getting a bit of, as you say, rock opera. And I'm also
Kubrick.
getting, yes, Kubrick. Yeah, forgot about that. Jesus. That came out of nowhere. I thought that was one of the least successful bits of it, but then I would think that. But yeah, they're following pretty much beat for beat A Hero's Journey. And I went back and I did some more reading on Joseph Campbell, because it's not something I read a lot of. This is actually beat for beat Hero's Journey, only like with a shit hero. But I mean, I say shit hero not as a criticism. They're supposed to be really shit heroes. And that's where the joy of it comes in, because the trials they face are a bit shit, right up to the bit at the end where they have to actually battle Satan. And they're just a bit shit at dealing with all of them. And, you know, there's a talking Sasquatch. And anyway, yeah, it's delightful. I don't think it always works. And I think actually part of that for me is where it's least faithful to the sort of the references and the homages and the sophisticated sort of subtext that goes through it. Because it does, I mean, it's not entirely true to Hero's Journey, and I think it kind of missteps when it's going off script. But I wasn't expecting that level of sophistication at all.
So when it's citing, you think it's on form. When it's not, it's not.
Say that again, sir.
When it's citing stuff, it's on form. When it's not, it's not.
Yeah, because it's a much cleverer film than it wants you to think it is. And when it stops being clever, then it loses some of that forward momentum.
I mean, I think you're completely right, Ben. This is a reworking of Crossroads in many respects. I introduced a screening of Crossroads a few months ago, and I made the reference in reverse, saying it just occurs to me watching this again today that this is one of the inspirations for Pick of Destiny, and they're like, just an audience.
Well, that's
so people who just went, "What?"
Yeah, it's basically tribute.
Yeah,
the song tribute. It's the whole movie, and it's a precursor to the movie. Like
it's the classical story in blues mythology of selling your soul to the devil in order to acquire the ability to play great music.
Yeah,
and that's the Robert Johnson story, which Crossroads is basically telling.
Yeah, although they didn't go, they went down the road, but they happened across the devil. They didn't go
looking for him.
They didn't go looking for him, and they didn't want to sell their soul.
No, but they went looking for the pick, knowing that.
No, but I'm talking about tribute, not about Pick of Destiny.
Oh, about tribute.
That's where they differ.
Yes, they just walking and they basically coming across the devil in the desert, and then he challenges them to a rock off.
Yeah, and they write the best song that
was
ever created.
So this is tribute, which is like their big first song.
Okay, that's making a bit of sense of the final act.
But in its original version of tribute itself is actually the song that is the greatest song in the world ever.
They couldn't remember the greatest song in the world, so this is a tribute.
Right.
So it's very meta.
Yeah, it's extremely meta.
This is what I mean. They are so much cleverer than they want you to think.
But what is the greatest song in the world?
What?
So whenever they used to when they started playing this out live originally, they would actually incorporate the greatest song in the world in this song.
Oh, it's Metallica, isn't it?
Fuck that.
No, is it not?
Stairway to Heaven?
Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, Jesus.
Led Zeppelin, first played in Belfast.
Right.
in the Ulster Hall.
Great.
I'm not a big fan of Led Zeppelin.
I don't think it's the greatest song in the world
No,
ever,
no.
but I quite like the fact that that's often claimed to be.
Well, is that what they're doing?
Yeah,
So
being
they're taking the piss out of the fact that everybody claims Stairway
and
is.
they can't remember because every kind of rock guitarist wants to
Okay.
play Stairway to Heaven. It's Wayne's World does this, where they go into the shop and there's
No,
the
Stairway denied.
So I mean, like, is it kind of, it's a rock trope that people identify with, and that's that. So they Tribute was a song that everyone knew, and it's sort of surprising that they don't play Tribute in this film. They create a completely different song that's based around the same concept.
Yeah.
They're actually tributing Tribute,
Yeah.
which is tributing Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
Yep. So many layers of reference here.
Yeah.
I'm just singing the praises of Jack Black and Kyle Gass as geniuses.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And Liam Lynch, the director.
They're excellent songwriters, definitely.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Apart from that one song in that movie,
Which one?
Which song?
the Sasquatch one.
I love Sasquatch.
I hate it.
I like that. I don't think
I
it's
hate
their
that part of the
strongest.
movie
I don't
as
think it's
well.
their strongest song, but I really like the sequence. Surprisingly,
I know it's the bright colours. It's the only thing I liked about Avatar was all that kind of neon fluorescent
I
kind of
know.
UV stuff.
I know that in the movie, then he's taking a trip,
Yeah.
and this is all in his head,
Yeah.
right? But see if you remove that song from the movie,
Yeah.
it does not do anything for me.
But then again, Sasquatch itself is playing part of their own established mythology because Sasquatch is also a song. Because
is that what it is? Because I mean, as much as I like that sequence, it came out of nowhere. It does. It fits with nothing else in the film, and it doesn't hit any of the beats of the hero's journey. And I really didn't understand what was going on with it, to be honest.
if you watch, so before they ever did the film, they had an HBO TV series, little sort of short things, and it's about them kind of basically what they do in this film being a really crap rock band trying to get their
Is
own
that the
place.
thing that's attached? You have like a special edition, don't you? Or a DVD
Oh, it's the complete masterworks.
of shorts?
Yeah.
Is that the shorts that
That's the shorts that's on that, yeah.
that was on TV?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, really.
And the thing, the lemonade stand?
Yeah. Oh,
That was on
all that
TV.
stuff, yeah. All those little 5-10 minute things, yeah. They're on TV.
But jizzing in a cup. And
It's HBO. They can.
Oh, right. Okay, that explains a lot. So it's basically fan service then. The Sasquatch thing is fan service.
The whole film is like a great big bit of authorized fan fiction. In many respects.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically the fictionalized story of their rise to greatness.
It's their fictionalized story of their fictionalized story
Right.
of their rise to greatness.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
Wait.
so it really is proper like meta fan fiction.
This is,
yeah.
Layers upon layers
Like-
upon layers.
like, say if you listen to the album Tribute, or no,
Tenacious D is
Tenacious
called,
D, yeah. There's a wee skit in it about cock push-ups.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's where that comes from as well, in the Pick of Destiny.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean that I didn't have a problem with. I mean that's basically Chekhov's cock push-up, isn't it? If a cock push-up arrives in the first act, it must that cock push-up must appear again in the final act, surely. No.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, this is what you do with plotting. You don't have it for no reason. But again, it's a reference back to their pre-existing work.
Okay, gotcha. I wonder does that make sense of the various other different bits that seem to either not cohere or to appear out of nowhere or to appear and then go nowhere?
Like,
I can't think of anything just off the top of my head. I mean, Amy Poehler's character, I suppose, is one of them. She's just so completely fabulous. I mean, everything about her is fabulous. I'm a massive fan. And she just owns that whole section. I mean, I think she would rebuff for me all of my arguments that I'm definitely going to make about the inherent misogyny of this film, because I don't think they're really misogynistic. I genuinely don't believe that this is a misogynistic film. I think it's got misogyny chucked in for that kind of gross out comedy factor, but I don't think they believe it. And she is one of my strongest arguments for why I don't believe that this is a misogynistic film, because that character, my God, that character.
she's treated with quite a bit of respect, really. I mean, this is the whole, she's got a black eye and it's what happened to you? He's just like, was this? I fell into a curling iron or something.
Yeah.
You know, whereas it's clearly, you know, you're with an abusive partner who beat the shit out of you.
And she's almost, I mean, she's got that just complete beaten down. It's just, she just absolutely owns every second that she's on screen.
I think within their kind of the recorded material, the sort of the idea of the damaged female does crop up.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I feel like maybe they kind of play more in that traditional role of being the guy who's meant to kind of defend that. But there's a song, Conchita.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
In Rise of the Phoenix, which was the album they did after this, that references how shitty this film actually performed at the box office.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
You know,
tanked.
Totally, yeah. And how Jack Black rose to power and Jables basically went off the rails.
Yeah.
But Conchita is a song about this girl who basically is in a really, really crappy abusive relationship, and Jack Black's character comes in to save her from it and fight for her. Which, actually, I don't know, you really often get that in music, even to say, like, stuff, you know.
And again, that kind of links me back to my feeling like this is more of a genuine version of him.
Episode 2 of their new web thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even that. Did you watch that?
Yeah, I did. Of Apocalypse,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, they wake up and he's like, hey man, I had this crazy dream, like I was having a BJ, and then he looks down, there's one of the leftover women giving him a BJ.
Mm-hmm. And he's not good with it?
No, he's not. He's shy. I need to learn, or I need to, you know, strike up a relationship with a woman before I do anything like that.
There's a whole issue of consent around that, which is, again, quite
timely.
Yeah, I mean, but when you look at their other stuff, it's not entirely surprising, because while they do talk about being on the road and kind of, you know, grippies and everything else, there is still a weird respect that comes up repeatedly.
Yeah.
It's a very strange relationship. It's almost like somebody who's trying to play at being the rock star, but actually kind of doesn't feel comfortable with being the rock star, because actually they have a heart and a conscience.
Yeah. And for all that film references repeatedly sort of the quest for tits, and the fact that they are desperately sort of horny and they want women to throw themselves at them, there's no female love interest. I mean, there's really no females with spoken parts apart from Amy Poehler, but I would rather have that than have a woman turn up just so that she could be there for someone to want to have sex with her.
I think there is a love interest.
Who do you think it is?
But it's a love interest between
them,
two friends.
Yeah, it's their bromance. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, no, there's also Lee.
Does Lee make an appearance in this?
Lee makes an appearance because they've got the friends who they borrow the car off. The pizza
that's
guy.
Right, that's another one of my doesn't quite tie up references.
So,
he's literally only there for them to get the car off.
And he's Sasquatch. Isn't he Sasquatch as well?
John C. Reilly is Sasquatch.
John C. Reilly
is
Sasquatch. Oh, there you go. I'm going to cut that bit out because I've been an idiot.
Keep it in.
That's what she said.
Bloody
Keep
hell.
that bit out.
Yeah, no, so in the mythology, Lee is kind of like the obsessive fan friend. If you watch Flight of the Conchords, it's it's the girl, and that's the same role that basically exists. And he's kind of super stalkery, but you know he does stuff for them, and they kind of like him. But
Lee.
Poor Rachel.
Man, you need to sit down and listen to some of these songs.
Probably I do, yeah, I do.
I think you might enjoy them too. After.
I think I might.
Yeah. So there is this other stuff that's going on that we're not getting. There's some interesting cameos in this film.
Yes, there certainly are. Ben Stiller, that was a double take. Is that Ben Stiller?
Where's he?
He's the guy,
the guitar pick guy
in the store. He's the guy with all the hair who basically tells them the story about the
Is
pig.
he?
Yeah.
I never twigged on
No,
that.
I know. It's just so not like Ben Stiller at all.
Dave Grohl's in it.
Yeah.
It's Dave Grohl the devil, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Grohl plays them anyway. But yeah, he's there.
Like he played the devil in the tribute music video as well.
Oh, okay.
And they turn up in one of the Foo Fighter videos.
I did hear that, yeah.
It's
Learn to Fly.
Yeah. I've seen them live too.
I haven't.
Weirdly. I totally like them. So, and then you've got, Tim Robbins.
Yes, Tim Robbins, yeah.
It's like
Again, it's that Tim Robbins moment.
It's almost like a psycho kind of blind man Pew or something from Treasure Island.
Yeah, it was a nice curveball, that as well. It was a nice red herring.
But I think did he not study with Jack Black at acting school?
Oh, possibly. It turns out Jack Black studied with just about everybody. But I liked that character, and I liked the way it was sort of hinting at the fact that he was supposed to be the devil reclaiming the pick. And I totally believed it, totally bought it. Again, I mean, I just wasn't expecting this film to be as clever as it is.
I feel like I should almost end this knowing that this is Rachel agreeing. What? Yeah,
it is a good movie.
It's fantastically fun. Yeah. I mean, once you kind of get over the fact that it's
childish.
Yeah,
it is childish. Yeah,
but I think that's
a bit blokey.
Yeah, a bit blokey. But I think that's the appeal.
Okay, is it blokey though?
Well.
Because if you can have a feminist gender theorist sit here and argue against the misogyny of this film, can it in fact be blokey?
I think it's a bit Benny Hillish, actually.
I disagree completely.
No. I mean, in the sense that, these are guys who ostensibly are looking to kind of get the girl and to,
Which girl?
Any girl.
They'll take whatever they can get their hands on.
But they won't, though.
But that's what they say that they're doing.
That's the premise of it.
So, I mean, I think that whilst they're doing this, ultimately they never actually get the things that supposedly they're wanting to get. Now, the difference with Benny Hill is that Benny Hill still managed to show all that kind of near nudity on television, but he never gets the girl. He's always the butt of things in that sense.
Yeah, but he's pretty despicable, though. I mean, it's a long time since I've seen any Benny Hill deliberately.
It's also a different era.
Yeah, it's a different era, but that kind of excuse is it doesn't really wash. It's based on the fact that he tits, and that's just always been problematic. Always. It's just that now. There's more ability to call it out and say this is problematic.
Is the fact that the reason we like Kyle Gass and Jack Black as sort of on-screen characters because they're actually a bit normal looking. These are not. I mean, as Hollywood stars go, Jack Black is not the most Hollywood star that you could look at.
But he's not a buff, pretty boy.
I mean, I think there's certainly. Relatable characters. I mean, I can't really speak very authoritatively on this because I'm not going to be sort of projecting myself onto these guys anyway, in the way that male audience would.
Yeah, totally.
But, well, do you know, I don't know. I'm not sure that...
Well, they're not lookers.
Does it work like that way? I'm going to just defer to your expertise here, guys, because you're watching this as guys. So
I think this is one of the whole arguments that is made about Hollywood cinema, is it not? That actually the projection that we're meant to identify with the characters that we see on screen, and they sort of always represent this sort of hyper reality. They're always super glamorous, super exotic. They have bodies that we can achieve, and they're always often very polished. The men often a little bit older than the ladies that they're on screen with, but nevertheless. So we kind of aspire towards being like that, and certainly, it's only when you reach maybe in your 50s or 60s that you're allowed to have a little bit of a belly as a man in Hollywood.
But this whole kind of stoner aesthetic, this kind of stoner theme, that has been enormously popular and lucrative for Hollywood. It's got... folks, I wrote a paper on this. It's on the CinePunked website about slacker masculinity. It's something it's not new. It's not particularly personified in them. I mean, they're an American version of something that's really very well recognised.
Like Cheech and Chong, like Windsor, all this, but it was all broadly part of the same church, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Jay and Silent
Bob.
But it's kind of that loser. Jay and Silent Bob more so.
Although Kevin Smith now looks like a more traditional Hollywood man because he's had to lose loads of weight.
Why?
He had a heart attack.
Oh dear. I have not.
He's done really, really well for himself. Actually, he looks great.
Good.
And he's much healthier and much happier, and still with us, and making more Jay and Silent Bob.
Good.
But yeah, no, I mean, you're quite right. It is a trope. It is a character type that has existed for a long time and will probably continue to exist. And I guess it's.
I would argue not necessarily a long time. I mean, Cheech and Chong are outliers. This is a fairly 21st century phenomenon. Well, no, not 21st century, 90s onwards. This kind of idea of slacker masculinity. It's very.
So what is slacker masculinity?
It's very much tied up to this kind of Generation X sort of. Everything is kind of screwed. Why should I try? Mentality. You see it. I mean, it grows up around grunge. It's that kind of counterculture rebellion type of thing where it's loser masculinity. Basically, it's masculinity that refuses to grow up. It's childlike masculinity that celebrates its childishness, and it's sort of lionized in a lot of films that you see from like the 1990s onwards.
I guess weirdly, every time I keep on hearing this in my head, all I get is an image of Shaggy and Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
who has been around since the 60s.
Yeah, I know, but
and who's the hero really? Him and Scooby are the heroes, and they're the two biggest inept characters in that whole series.
Okay, hero is kind of the wrong term though for Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. They are the leads, but would we call them the heroes?
I look up to them.
You look up to Shaggy and Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
That just tells me a lot.
Spend all day eating, kind of hanging out with your friends. And occasionally stuff happens and you can be a coward and it's okay. For me, I guess, to me that is important because I wasn't... I feel like I'm in therapy now. Growing up, I didn't feel super masculine in that sense. It was good to have a cry and to be able to say, like, I'm not coping with this. This isn't good. How am I going to get through this? But actually know that you could.
But that's not slacker masculinity.
I don't understand what slacker masculinity is. I'm going to have to read
This
the
is
paper.
the first time I've heard this term.
Okay. Yeah, it's called the slacker is brackets Gary close brackets King. It's very clever. A very clever title. I amused myself greatly with that title. I wrote it in response to the Cornetto trilogy, which is basically just the rise. It's the apotheosis of slacker masculinity throughout the Cornetto trilogy. It's really very interesting, and in World's End, the slacker basically reorganizes human society to continue to create a society in which slacker masculinity will be lionized.
I do still feel that, in deference to our audience, I don't understand what slacker masculinity is.
Fair enough. But read my paper then. Read my paper. It's a laugh a minute. Honestly, it's only something like 80,000 words long. You'll love it. Have it. Lie down. Get a bottle of wine. Crack it open on a Saturday night. What better way to spend your weekend?
We can get Rachel to do an audio version of it for them.
Yes, I could record you reading it.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely bring them in. Yeah, my slacker masculinity brings all the boys to the yard. Coming soon.
Stay tuned.
Oh my gosh. Well,
www.cinepunked.com.
Give me all your money and I promise not to do it.
Slacker masculinity.
Yeah. Ultimately, this is a very clever film. It's got lots going on with it. It's definitely worth a watch. It's got a great score, which great soundtrack.
Yeah, there's some awesome tunes in that movie.
Some fantastic tunes,
yeah,
and a lot of meta. I like it. It's layers and layers of meta.
Yeah,
to be honest, it's.
Well, the first thing I said when I finished watching was, I wish I had time to watch that 3 more times because I really need to see this at least 3 more times to even start to scratch the surface of what's going on in this film. Yeah. There's such a lot.
I think though, before watching this film, you have to go and listen to material, like their previous.
Certainly their first album. Yeah. I mean, this is only the second album that they did. Well,
there is some stuff out there that they were doing before.
It's true, yeah. But certainly watch the first thing, and I think if you watch the TV series that they did.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to now, and I didn't before.
Yeah. It's a nice little genre. I mean, this the sort of thing that Flight of the Conchords have done subsequently, very well. Why would there not been a Flight of the Conchords film? I don't know.
Haven't they tried?
No, not yet.
I don't know where I got that idea from.
They've only got back together again.
Well, they kind of they've
They
never
were
really
on,
stopped
they, well,
performing.
they were on hiatus because they had kids.
Yeah, they did.
Because I recently saw an interview with them on one of those Saturday Night Live programs.
I think that I suppose Tenacious D have done the same thing. I mean, Jack's gone off and had families and stuff, and they perform and then they don't perform for a bit, and they're not driven to do this stuff in the way that they don't feel they have to churn this material out.
Well, Jack Black was saying, it's been 6 years, so we need to do another album, basically, in the interview that I watched. So, they seem to do this every 6 years, which is cool.
I'm actually surprised that you're so full of praise, considering there's a very, very nice Kubrick homage.
Yeah, that also happened, yeah.
What I love about this, right, so Clockwork Orange gets nicely played.
Where the hell did that come from, and why was it necessary? It did kind of nearly lose me at that point, because it just felt like it was being weird for the sake of. And that felt like that is the closest I would say to a crammed-in reference for no purpose whatsoever.
Well, because he's destitute at that point. He's on his own. He's in a strange place. He's sort of vulnerable, and as happens in Clockwork Orange, if you're on the streets, you can get attacked by yobbos who are themselves alien, but also they've got a mask on and they're pretending to be something that they aren't, because they're clearly not a bunch of Brits.
Yeah,
kind of ganging up on them. I don't know.
I sort of get that, but it's the most obvious sort of parody element to it, whereas the rest of it is played straight. Even though it's just mental and absurd, and sort of that's kind of dialed up to whatever factor it has to be. But that's just look, here's a film we also saw, and it just doesn't seem to fit for me. I don't know what I would ask for to be in its place were I in a position to make demands. But I suppose I can see that it's a segment that doesn't want to be too serious yet, and that's a way of getting a serious thing happening without losing the comedy value, possibly.
I think you're just totally against anything to do with Stanley Kubrick ever, unless it's Spartacus.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, one of these days we are going to subject to this.
I know. I'm waiting for
Kubrick.
it. I'm waiting for it. It's going to happen, and then we're going to have a massive fight in the podcast.
It's like I wish listeners could see her face and just how absolutely enraged she gets anytime Kubrick's name gets mentioned.
You want to see the faces of people when I do academic stuff and I go, I don't like Kubrick, and they look at me like I've just stabbed a baby in front of them.
You won't get that reaction off me.
Good, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that.
I haven't a clue who that is.
Yeah, keep it that way. Honestly, you'll be happier.
So you might remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking about Halloween and we talked about The Shining briefly. It's like the Here's Johnny bit. That's Kubrick.
Yeah, that's Kubrick.
Oh, right. Okay. I haven't even seen The Shining. So.
Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, that's a barrel of laughs too.
I haven't seen that.
Okay. Doctor Strange stuff I'll give you. Doctor Strange stuff I will give you.
Lolita.
Whatever.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this one up. We're actually nice and early for a change. So I think no, I'm going to work the room again. So Rachel is somebody who we all thought was not going to enjoy this. What were your final thoughts?
Strangely converted to Tenacious D.
I just love them. So I like this film. It's great. Definitely see it and check out the back catalogue and all their other music.
I know that this film is not perfect. It does lots of things that aren't quite right for me, but I thoroughly enjoy it. Probably because of the music as much as anything else. I just wish, actually, I think what I wish is that opening sequence where it's telling that story about Kickapoo and the whole background thing, and it really is very narrative driven. I almost wish they'd had more conviction to follow through more like that. Yeah,
so do I. I think that is an absolute peak for the film, and that to hit that peak so early is almost a little bit of a misstep, because it's never quite able to get that real sort of, oh my god, heart-pounding gloriousness again, which is not to say that it fails elsewhere. It's just that is just such a high point.
That's pure rock opera that then descends into something that's a bit more like a musical, and it needed to. What I would like to see is more of that kind of rock opera thing. Let's keep the story going right the way through.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to CinePunked with me, Robert J. Simpson, and my erstwhile colleagues.
I'm Rachel Kelly.
I'm Ben Simpson.
Do check out our website, www.cinepunked.com, or we are also on Facebook, Twitter, and we occasionally pop up at random places, so keep your eyes and ears peeled. Fire back some feedback if you've enjoyed the show. If you don't enjoy it, don't. Actually, no, do. We like feedback that's negative as well as positive, because we are equal opportunists. And if you have liked this, subscribe. Please subscribe. Leave us reviews. We would love to hear what you think, and we would love to have some more subscriptions. We'll be back in your ears very, very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tits.